Hi everybody, I'm going to show you how you can add lettering to your drawing in perspective, both vertical lettering and horizontal lettering. Let's say I want to add a sign to the front of this building, and let's say I also want to add a sign that is on the road right here, basically as a kind of a crosswalk that says stop on the road. So how do I do that? The first step is to block out where you would like your lettering to be. So it's a matter of drawing a rectangle in perspective using your vanishing points on the surface on which you would like your letters. So for example, if I want a sign across the front of this building, I'm going to use my right hand vanishing point to draw a box. Sorry about that. In perspective using that right hand vanishing point because it's resting on the right hand side of this building and therefore shares the same vanishing point as the right hand side of the building does. And so I've got a box here in a long rectangle in which I want to put my sign that's going to go on the front of this storefront. Now for the sign that I want to be on the sidewalk, or rather on the road between the two sidewalks, I'm going to also draw a rectangle that delineates where I want that to be. Now in this case, the sides of the rectangle need to use the left-hand vanishing point here because we're talking about a rectangle that is placed on the ground. So first you block that out. Then the next step is to divide up your long rectangle into smaller boxes into which you're going to fit your letters. So the idea is to think about how you need each letter to occupy approximately the same space, the same amount of space. You want the spacing of your letters to be even. And there are a number of techniques you can use to do that. One of the techniques you can use to do that is called vertical convergence. In the case of spacing verticals, you can use that technique up here. I'm going to post a different video that will go over the specifics of vertical convergence, so I'm not going to demo it here. But you can use vertical convergence to space your vertical lines here. You could use horizontal convergence to space your horizontals here. You can also use the X to mark the middle technique, which is another technique for dividing the spaces evenly. In the case of the word stop that I want to put here on the ground, on the road, I know that there are 4 letters, S-T-O-P, and therefore I can divide this. I know that I want to divide this rectangle in half and then in half again so that I get 4 equal boxes. So I can use the X to mark the middle technique where I just draw an X across this box to find the center of the box. And that gives me a line that divides my box and my rectangle in half. And then I can just repeat that step again with this smaller piece, divide it in half, and find where that vertical line goes. And so I'm going to kind of show you what these steps look like already completed. This is skipping ahead. Here is my vertical convergence. Again, that's demoed in depth in a different video. And here is the horizontal X to mark the middle technique to divide the space evenly there. And so what I end up with, once you darken in the lines that you need and erase away the lines that you don't need, what you end up with are evenly spaced boxes in perspective like this. And so what these boxes do for you is they give you a way to inscribe your letters so that they are all the same relative height and proportion in perspective in your composition. So let me show you what that looks like when you take this and you start adding lettering to it. So this shows basically how I've taken those squares, those rectangles rather, and I have used the angles and lines in them to draw my letters. Now I'm drawing my letters in very much block-like letters, and of course you can round the corners and stylize your lettering, but it's good to start out with simple block lettering first, just to get the spacing correct and the perspective correct. So I could, for example, take the corners of this O and make it a little bit more round. But notice how I have used a line that goes from across the bottom of my T all the way to my right-hand vanishing point to get basically the thickness of the letter. And not only the thickness of the letter T, but that also is helping to define the thickness of the letter O as well, so that my letters, like I said before, are even and sort of uniform in size, shapes, and style, etc. So I'm going to use these guidelines. I'm going to zoom in a bit here, just a little bit, so I can show you how I could start continuing along here to add an S. And again, I'm going to make my S very much block-like, and I'm going to use that right-hand vanishing point. I really should draw this line all the way to the vanishing point, but I'm going to fudge it a little bit to basically get the spacing here for the letters. And it's just a matter of intuitively knowing kind of, what letters look like, and if you need to look up a reference for block lettering to see how to draw them, then you can use that as a reference as well, and it will help you to understand how to kind of extrapolate that and put it into perspective. You just have to remember that any of the edges that are parallel to one another are going to share the same vanishing point. So once you have the boxes, though, it should be relatively easy to use those guidelines in the boxes to help you kind of get the right proportion and spacing for your lettering. Okay, so continue on here. I'm going to skip over the center of the O and go straight to the R and kind of just show you how I would take that and sort of block it out like this. And like I said, once you get the basics down, you can start to round the corners and things like that. But just make sure that you're using the boxes in perspective to inscribe the shapes correctly. Now for the letter E, I'm going to zoom out again here and show you how this right-hand vanishing point is important for getting the angle of that E, the part of the E that sticks out. Okay, so something along the lines of that. And now you have your lettering blocked out. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can take the lettering from this kind of flat stage to a more three-dimensional stage, how to use the left-hand vanishing point to give your letters depth and dimension.